Right, here we are, Friday evening here in West Wyalong in the Riverina, New South Wales. Tell you an interesting thing. This is the breadbasket of New South Wales, possibly even of the country. But in Western Australia, they have a lot of farming going on as well. Anyway, interesting thing is 70% of the food that's produced in Australia is exported, right? Unbelievable, really. So, I mean, the rest of it we eat, I suppose, or whatever we do. But yeah, it's an amazing amount, and it's a bigger slice of the economy than mining is. Mining's probably the second biggest income earner, I think, in Australia. Anyway, there you go. Interesting facts, this evening. But look, what have I been doing today? Well, I've got to tell you, I'm going to tell you a bit. I wanted to start a section called Jobs I Have Had. So I'm going to start with the one I've got at the moment. So when I came here, before I came here, and I had an interview, and what they wanted to do is they wanted somebody to make the paper digital, right? But keep the newspaper, but make a digital version of it. So basically, we're talking website, right? And we're talking social media, like Facebook. And I thought before I came to the interview, I thought, I'll look it up and see what the West Wyalong Advocate is all about. Impossible to do, right? Because they had no digital presence. They had no website. They had no Facebook page. Actually, that's not quite true. They had a Facebook page. This is true. They started it in 2016, right? Except they didn't really do anything with it. They didn't put one single post up, right? So it was just sitting there on Facebook since 2016. What's that? Okay, that's almost 10 years, isn't it? Absolutely ludicrous. And it's almost 25 years since Facebook started. They still didn't have a Facebook page. Anyway, and they didn't have a website. So you couldn't find out anything about them apart from Wikipedia, which had a history, a very, very brief history of the newspaper, and similar to many newspapers, 125 years old, It'd been owned by, Roy Blenkinshaw the third and all sorts of stuff like that. Anyway, I came for the interview and didn't know anything about it at all. Anyway, point is this. The reason that it was like that was because they don't like change, right? They do not like change at all in any way, shape, or form. So at the time when I came here, here's a funny thing here. I was doing two full-time jobs at the same time. I was still editor. I probably mentioned it before, but I'm just going to repeat this a little bit. So I was editor at the Barrier Truth newspaper, which is a big newspaper, right? We had a staff of about 20 there. Staff at the place I'm at now is 3, and that includes me, right? I'm the only editorial person there. Anyway, so I ended up doing the Broken Hill paper for about 3 or 4 months and the West Wyalong paper at the same time. Neither of them knew. They will now if they look at this, but of course nobody's looking at it, so it doesn't matter. But I was doing both of those jobs. Absolutely ludicrous. I have mentioned it before, so I'm not going to go on about it. But anyway, the point is, in Broken Hill, which is an isolated community, right, 17,000 people roughly, it's a mining community. I'm just turning the phone over because Siri's getting a little bit uppity. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute, actually. She's trying to take over my life. Anyway, isolated community, but they love the paper, right? And really love the paper. It's a major institution. Sadly, it's been closed down, and I knew it was in a bad situation, but tried my best. We produced good papers. We had several awards, for the paper, front page award for the front page, all sorts of awards. Okay, so I'm an award-winning editor, I suppose. Anyway, so that closed down, unfortunately. Then I spend all my time working on the West Wyalong paper, which is where I've been for 8 months now. Anyway, don't like change here, not at all. They're still using a Big Pond email account. Well, actually, they're not now because I've just changed it. If you're not in Australia, what that basically means is that they were using the equivalent of, a Telstra account, a Telecom account, or British Telecom account, right? Similar sort of thing, not professional, right? So I've changed that. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Not happy about that, not happy about that at all. But the funniest thing is this, when I was in Broken Hill, they had a couple of designers, full-time designers there. These people who really know what they do, what to do, right? And how to do it. And when I went to West Wyalong, they said, you've got to process each picture, which we have to do, right? You've got to process each picture for print. I went, okay. Now, I didn't really know a lot about that because I'd never had to do it before, right? I'm sorry, I've got a speck on the screen and it's annoying me. I've never had to do it before, but at West Wyalong I had to, obviously, right? So they went through this ludicrous process. It was like about a 10-step process to process each picture. So you can spend a whole day, literally, I'm not joking, processing pictures ready for print from a sporting event, like a rugby match or cricket or whatever, right? Ludicrous. Anyway, when I was in Broken Hill, I said to one of the designers there, I said, hey, listen, how do you do this? Do I need to go through this whole process? And he laughed and he said, no. You don't need to do that. He said, the main thing is this. And he showed me what I needed to do. You could cut that process down by at least half, right? And you get better results doing it that way, right? Because you're cutting out superfluous stuff. And also, you could do it obviously a lot quicker, right? It saves a lot of time, more efficient, better results, right? That's a win-win, isn't it, really? I mean, what a wonderful thing that is. Anyway, when I was back in West Wyalong after Christmas, I said to me, listen, been talking to the designers up there, blah, blah. They hated it, right? They hated talking about another newspaper because they think the way they do everything is perfect, absolutely perfect, even though the paper had been closed down for a while because it wasn't making enough money. And quite frankly, it's on its knees, or it was until I went there. Sounds big-headed, but I know what I'm doing, so I'm picking it back up. Anyway, I said to me, listen, what you can do is you don't need to go through that whole 10-step process, because here's the other thing. When I first went there, I said, why do we need to go through this process? Well, we've been told that's what we need to do, right? So like sheep, they just went along with it, right? Now, maybe that was the way it needed to be done back about, 20 years ago. Here's another thing. So I think I mentioned this before, but I'll sort of briefly mention it again because it's relevant here, obviously. So the editor who was there, been there 43 years. 43 years on the same newspaper as a journalist and eventually as an editor. 43, could you believe that? And then retired at Christmas time, this last Christmas, right? And one of the other people has been there 32 years, I think it is. And the other one recently celebrated 18 years there. So it's madness. I mean, who does that these days, right? But they've done it because it's comfortable, okay? So they've always done things the same way. It's very, very hard to change. Anyway, I thought the picture thing's easy to change because it's more efficient, it's more cost effective, it takes less time, and the results are better. I explained it just like that. I said, that's what you need to do. The one who's been there like about 35 years or whatever it is said to me, I've always done it this way and I'll always continue to do it this way. I'm a boss, right? But that's what she said. What can you do? What can you do, right? My wife said you need to get a little bit tougher with them. How can you do that, right? They're both near retirement age, right? Anytime they could up sticks and go. That's the thing. So you have to be a little bit wary of that because there's not a load of people lining up to do those jobs, right? So I've always got that sort of thing. Anyway, that's all good. So it happens all the time. It's something all the time. I changed the emails and made more efficient emails. Oh, no, we've always been used to doing this one. Oh my God, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, so today is a classic example, right? So the other thing is, everywhere I've ever worked in the world, people come into the office, whether it's a magazine or whether it's TV or whether it's radio or whether it's a newspaper. People who work there, they come in and they go, hey, listen, guess what's happened? My Auntie Joe's brother's, had a great success. He's done this, or he's been given a big grant from the government, or blah, blah, blah. Right. That's how it works normally, right? And as the editor, you go, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Now, I've really been trying to unveil myself, as they say, with these folks and to try and work with them, right? I don't go in there and I don't say, I know best and all of this. But I go, hey, hang on. How about if we do it this way? Already tried that with the pictures, right? There you go. Didn't really work. Anyway, so I'm always saying is, tell me what the stories are. They don't. They've lived there all their lives. Some stories they don't want to tell, right? Because it's people they know. or yeah, there's some vested interest, right? Whatever it is. Anyway, it is weird to me. It's very alien. So today, I get a I get an email yesterday. We've got a big gold mine here, right? And that provides a lot of finance and money into the town. They're always giving grants for things. They employ a lot of people, right? The salaries are really good. You know, it makes the town wealthy, right? And it's a good thing. There's definitely a good thing. And it's a gold mine, right? What could be better than that, really? And they're digging up all this gold all the time. Anyway, so the gold mining people get in touch with me, and one of the people at the gold mine company, this lady there, she's actually on the board of the newspaper, you know, and she's a sharp cookie. She's a local, but she kind of understands what it's about, you know, and what's going on and what we need to do. And she loves what I'm doing with the paper. Incidentally, I'll just go off it. Everybody loves what I'm doing with the paper. Absolutely everybody. It's almost embarrassing. People come up to me all the time, even people I don't know, and go, Tony, you've made the paper so much better. It's wonderful. I say to them, I'm a bit embarrassed because, actually, I've never had people saying this to me all the time. It shows how bad it was. But I'm embarrassed because I'm only doing what I can do at the moment, right? A lot more needs to be done. And you've got to be slow with this and methodical because of the reasons I've talked about, right? It's very, very difficult. But anyway, they all keep saying this. There's only 2 people in the whole town who've not said anything positive to me about the paper, nothing whatsoever. Yeah, you guessed it. People I work with, right? They don't want change, don't want to see it, not interested in it. You know, one of them always says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, actually, it's broken, right? It's pretty broken. It was pretty broken. Anyway, what can you do? I don't know. If somebody's got an answer to that, let me know. Anyway, so gold company, get in touch with me, this lady there, and she goes, this was yesterday, and she goes, hey, listen, we're going to give some grants to 3 groups, right? $30,000 each. This is a lot of money, you know. So that's about £15,000, if you like. American dollars, oh, I don't know. What is it? Slightly more than that, I suppose. Slightly more than 30,000. Yes, I don't know, about 40,000 or something like that. And anyway, so the point is they're giving this money out, and she says, hey, do you want to come up and cover it? I said, absolutely, of course I do. I'll come up, take some pictures, I'll talk to the people. One of the people as well who works at the mine's got a family here. He's doing a charity shave, right? Shaving his head and shaving his beard so he looks like me, and which is good, you know, it's good. And he's doing that because his daughter, one of his daughters, right, and she's only, I think, 17, maybe 16, 17, got cancer, which is another issue in this area. And I am going to look into that because cancer rates here, it seems to me, are very high. Anecdotally, it seems they are, but I'm going to look into that anyway. So I say, yeah, I'll come along and I'll do this. One of the women in the office, there's only 2 women there. There's only 2 people there. She is one of the people who's going to be given the $30,000, right? So she's with one of these groups. Now, what would you think? Wouldn't you think that that person, A, would want some publicity for the group, you know, and B, would tell their colleague, their editor, their boss, this is what's happening. Why don't you come along? Could you do a picture? How about we do a story on it? Right? Wouldn't that be normal? Didn't say a word to me. Did not say a word. I thought, okay, I'm not going to say anything. 10 o'clock it was on this morning, right? 9:45, I'm going out the office because I'm going to get there before her, right? Because I want to see how this pans out. I go, oh, I'll be back soon. I'm doing a couple of stories. The other one says to me, oh, what are you going to do? I said, just stories, you know. I thought, fuck off, is what I thought, right? Anyway, I go there, talking to the evolution people. There's loads of other people there. She turns up, you know. I thought, there you go. Anyway, point is, why would you? I'm going to have it out with her at some stage, probably at the next editorial meeting, which will lead to, you know, some kind of nastiness and some kind of like, I'm not going to help him all day or all week or whatever. But it's ludicrous, right? What on earth is that about? I'll tell you what it's about. It's about, we don't want to let him into the community completely. Most people do, right? Because they want to get the stories out and they want to read about what's happening. But no, not these 2. Don't want change, don't want anything to happen. We don't want him getting too many stories. It'll look, I don't know what it'll look like. It'll look like a proper bloody newspaper, I suppose. Anyway, that's that really. So, yeah, I've been struggling with it all evening as I've been, drinking a couple of beers, and I'm thinking, I don't know, it's going to be a hard one to handle. You either decide to say nothing and just carry on and keep doing a good job, which is what I'm doing. I've got to say, right? I'm turning this paper around, proper bloody journalism, proper stories, local stuff, right? I'm doing that. I'm proud of what I'm doing, but anyway, it is hard. I'm only the only person doing it, right? I get a few stories sent in by people who write about sports, which is great because I don't know anything about sport. I'm not interested in sport any way, shape, or form. So it's good that they send it in. I'm not interested in it, but I know what I'm doing as an editor. I know what you need to cover, and I know what you need to have in the paper. So that's that. Anyway, I'm just going to talk about Siri again because, oh my God, it's driving me mad. So actually, I shouldn't say that because we'll call her she. I don't like doing that because it's a machine, right? It's not a person. I don't want to imbue them with any sense of personality. But here's the thing, right? And I was talking to somebody about this today. They've had it too, right? So I think I've said this before, but I'll repeat it again because nobody's watching anyway. So if I have to go out to the car in the evening to get my glasses or something, or whatever, right, I have to put the torch on because it's pitch black out there. There's no lighting where I am, right, in the sort of backyard there. It's a big backyard. Cars in the garage, right, in the garage. So I go, Siri, put torch on. So Siri goes, torch is on. And she goes, torch is on? Anyway, whatever. I'm not going to try and impersonate her. It would be ludicrous. And so that's that. And then when I come back, of course, I go, Siri, turn torch off, right? Now, what she was saying every time was, torch is turned off. And I'd go, thanks very much, because I'm a polite person. And she'd go, that's okay. Or she'd go, don't mention it, right? What's happened the last few days is same process, right? And I've said, hey, Siri, turn torch off, turns it off. I go, hey, thanks for that. And she goes, uh-huh. What is that about? What is that about? This has happened to a few people I've been talking to as well. So Siri, can you just close the door there? Uh-huh. What is that about? How has that happened? Right? I'm not even engaging in conversation with this machine, right? All of a sudden she thinks it's okay to go, uh-huh. Can you imagine working with somebody? If I said to them, hey, listen, can you do this and blah blah blah? It needs to be done by 2:00, and it's really quite urgent. You'd be thinking, wouldn't you? You'd be thinking they can't really be bothered. They're not interested. They're not invested in this. It's really really bad. Anyway, I don't know. She's trying to take over my life, I reckon. I'll be in here soon talking about, and then she was saying about this, and then the next thing I was just driving my car. The other thing is though, right? This AI stuff, I've said it before, but I'm going to keep banging on about this. It's bloody nonsense. It's absolute nonsense, right? I mean, half the time when you ask Siri to do something, she does something else, like phone somebody randomly when you've asked, turn on the torch. So, yeah, these people who talk about AI taking over the world, it's got a long way to go yet, let me tell you, that's for sure. So I don't think we've got anything to worry about there too much. Okay, that's about it. We've taken up enough time. So tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday, right? But I don't work. I've told you before, I work on the weekends, pretty much work 7 days a week. People phone me up and they go, hey, can you come and cover this? So I'm covering a rugby union event. Old folks who used to play in the team, they got a bit of a thing going on. It's the 70th anniversary of their club this year. So I'm going to do a series of stories on that for the next couple of issues. And then on Sunday, I got these folks emailed me and said, hey, listen, we'd love it if you could come along and cover our gala event, rugby union again. And the gala event is when they get teams from all over the place, really. Probably there'll be about 5 to 10 teams there. And they have a bit of a gala event. It's all kids, right? So a lot of the time it's just completely disorganized. They're all running around. A few weeks ago, I went to cover an Auskick event. Auskick is basically AFL, Australian football. I don't know what the hell it means. AFL, they chuck the ball around. It's like Irish football or whatever that is, They call it football, but most of the time they're holding the ball and running, right? So work that one out. But anyway, they're Auskick. It's for little kids, right? I don't know, they're about 5 or 6 or whatever, or maybe up to about 10 or 11. They're running around, and I was watching them taking a few photos. People love that sort of thing in the paper. And I was watching them, and I thought, hang on a minute. There were several kids on the same team tackling each other, right? Right? They had no idea what they were doing. I put a Facebook post up and a bit of video, and I said, I've no idea who's winning, and people were laughing about it. It's good to see them doing it, getting out there, getting a bit of exercise. Even some of the kids, like, they had a couple of kids out there that are obviously not, your sort of athletic type, but they were enjoying themselves, and having fun. So it's a good thing to do, I suppose, in that way. I hated doing sport when I was younger. Football in Britain, I always remember football is called, right? Not bloody soccer. And it's certainly not called footy. It's just football. We all know that. And I used to just run up and down the line at the side there, because I didn't want to get involved with it really. It was a bit too rough for me. It really was. That's what I thought. It's a bit too rough. And really my overall impression of it was playing it in the winter, depths of winter, when the ground was hard as iron. It really was. It really was. It was unpleasant. Oh my God. Anyway, it's an image I'll always carry with me, that me of the boys shivering and walking along and running along that bloody sideline there and trying not to get involved. And I was usually pretty successful at that because I wasn't good at it. So nobody ever passed the ball to me ever. I don't know. That child. That child. Anyway, here we go. So, yeah, I'm going to get back tomorrow on Saturday and I'll let you know how the rugby league went. I've done that before. Rugby union went. Okay. Anyway, look, you all take care and you all take care. Anybody watching this, if there's anybody, take care out there. Have a good evening, afternoon, or morning, depending on where, of course, you are in the world. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. So, yeah, all good. And I'll talk to you again soon.